Good morning everyone. Basahan tayo natin libro. Today is 18 December 2022. History of the Filipino People by Agoncillo and Guerrero. So, basahin natin. History of the Filipino People, Part 3 pa rin tayo. Reform and Revolution, Topic number 10. The Revolution First Phase. Basa. The Katipunan became especially popular in the suburbs of Manila and in the provinces of Central Luzon, but as the number of its affiliates increased, the Spanish authorities began to suspect its underground character. The friars began to denounce the nightly meeting held by the Katipuneros, and on August 19, 1896, Patiño exposed the society to Father Mariano Hill. With the discovery of the Katipunan, Bonifacio had no other alternative than to take to the field, and on August 23, at Pugadlawin, he and his men declared their intention to fight to the bitter end. The revolution spread to the provinces. In Cavite, meanwhile, the two factions of the society were at loggerheads, and Bonifacio was invited to mediate between them and Tejeros. It was agreed to change the society with a government responsive to the demands of the times, and in the election that followed, Bonifacio was chosen Director of the Interior. Unfortunately, his election was questioned by Daniel Terona. Bonifacio, hurt by the insult, declared the results of the election null and void. In April, he was ordered arrested, tried, and executed. The Filipinos were at the time losing battle after battle. Aguinaldo retreated to Biak na Bato, where the Republic was founded. Later in December, the truce at Biak na Bato was concluded between the rebels and the Spanish government. The truce, however, was a failure. Rizal and the Revolution. Bonifacio, who had known Rizal during the Liga days, but whom Rizal did not know, personally wanted Rizal's opinion on the necessity of rising in arms against the Spaniards. He therefore commissioned Dr. Pio Valenzuela to go to Dapitan in June 1896 to confer with Rizal. With Valenzuela on the SS Venus were Rizal's sister Narcisa and his niece Angelica Rizal Lopez. The ship cast anchor at the port of Dapitan in the late afternoon of June 21. Valenzuela immediately proceeded to Rizal's home in the evening after supper. Wait lang guys, nalito na sila. Ulit. Valenzuela immediately proceeded to Rizal's home. In the evening after supper, Valenzuela whispered to Rizal the real purpose of his visit. He then related the founding of the Katipunan and its aims, among which was to overthrow Spanish authority. Told that the revolution might break out prematurely because of the impatience of the masses, Rizal pointed out that a revolution without sufficient arms should not be started against an armed nation. He remembered the first Cuban revolution against Spain, which failed because of lack of arms. Even so, he suggested that inflammation and wealthy Filipinos be attracted to the cause of the society in order to ensure the success of the revolution. In such a case, he said, there would be unity among all classes of Filipinos. Knowing that the society had no competent military leadership, he suggested that Antonio Lona be appointed to direct all military operations against the enemy. Valenzuela pointed out the difficulty of winning over the wealthy Filipinos to the Katipunan side. This was one problem to which Rizal failed to suggest a solution. It is obvious that Rizal was not against revolution in itself, but was against it only in the absence of preparation and arms on the part of the rebels. This was because Rizal feared that without arms the rebels would surely be defeated and thereby cause irreparable damage to the innocent people. His knowledge of the history of revolutions in other lands led him to believe that any revolution was useless unless the rebels were at least as armed as the enemy. After the interview, Valenzuela sailed back to Manila and reported the results of his mission to Bonifacio. The latter, having been apprised of Rizal's opinions, admitted that it would be fatal for them to start a revolution without enough arms with which to fight the enemy. Preparations for the struggle. Meanwhile, the Katipunan began preparations geared for any emergency. Bonifacio thought that sooner or later the revolution would explode and he did not want to be taken by surprise. Consequently, he ordered the manufacture of bolos to be distributed to the members of the society. Bolos alone, however, would not do, for the enemy was armed with Remingtons and Mausers. A ray of hope shone on the Katipuneros when Valenzuela told Bonifacio that the Japanese warship Congo with Admiral Kanimura on board had dropped anchor off Manila Bay and that it might be possible for them to seek the aid of the Admiral in the struggle for nation liberation. Contacts were made through Jose Moritaro Tagawa, a Japanese employee of a Japanese bazaar, and soon the Katipunan committee headed by Bonifacio himself had an interview with Admiral Kanimura. The interview was cordial, but the Japanese refused to commit his country to the revolutionary plans of the society. With a failure to enlist the help of Japan, Bonifacio looked elsewhere for concrete help, but found that the best help was self-help. He took of the Katipuneros in the various branches of the government and sought to use them as his tools. He called two of them, Tito Miguel and Roman Ramos, who were employed in the Maestranza arsenal, and ordered them to steal rifles and pistols, for the Maestranza was a place where the ordnance was located. Through this expediency, the weapons of the Katipunan increased. Even so, the quantity of such weapons was not sufficient to start a revolution. More bolos were ordered and hidden to prevent the authorities from discovering the intentions of the society. Spanish suspicion aroused. The increase in the number of the Katipunan affiliates, while advantageous to Bonifacio, was in a way a disadvantage. The new members were impatient, and in their impatience they met nightly, a circumstance that aroused the suspicion of the authorities. Rumors of such nocturnal meetings reached Manila, and the Spanish population, particularly the priors, became jittery. From Batangas, a rumor circulated that there were secret gatherings and that rifles and ammunition from Hong Kong and Yokohama were being landed. The priors exploited this rumor to advantage by telling the Governor-General to act at once in order to prevent a bloody uprising. Blanco, the Governor-General, was reluctant to act upon the suggestion of the priors, for he was not exactly sympathetic to the priors. Nevertheless, he banished all the prominent men of Malolos, Bulacan in 1895 and those of Taal, Batangas in 1896. The prior campaign of vilification now began. On June 20, 1896, a Recollect prior in Cavite. On June 20, 1896, a Recollect prior in Cavite denounced the alleged existence of a group of men who met at banquets to toast the victory of the Cuban rebels against the Spaniards. Another rumor had it that there were some 17,000 rebels in the town of San Juan del Monte, San Felipe Neri, San Pedro, Makati, Pasig, and Caimito. This parish priest of Guadalupe listening to a rumor monger that was her servant, denounced the existence of an alleged secret society in his parish to the Governor-General. The Curate of Santa Cruz, Manila, reported the authorities' alleged secret meetings of suspicious persons in Manila. In spite of these reports, most of which were exaggerated and calculated to force the Governor-General to act precipitately, the latter refused to take any action. Instead, he rebuked the priors that told Father Mariano Hill's messenger and undeceived. Instead, he rebuked the priors and told Father Mariano Hill's messenger, "Undeceive yourself. Freemasonry and filibustering are like a pit in which you put your finger and at once you touch the bottom. Both evil exist only in the minds of the priors and a few others fanatical Spaniards." The priors, undaunted by the rebuff, continued to pester the Governor-General with more reports of alleged secret meetings. To them, the Governor-General was a fathead who could not make up his mind. The discovery of the Katipunan. Hanggang dito na lang tayo, guys. Father Mariano, Hill, disgusted over the governor's attitude, next ran to the military governor of Manila, General Echalosi, and revealed what he knew about the Katipunan, but Echalosi was not in a mood to humor the prior. Instead, he took precautions to make Manila safe from disturbances of any kind. At almost the same time, however, an unfortunate incident took place between two Katipuneros who were working in the Spanish-owned Diario de Manila. Apolonio de la Cruz and Teodoro Patino was a misunderstanding, and Patino weakling that he took his revenge on Apolonio by revealing the secrets of the society by Sister Honoria. The latter, an inmate at the orphanage in Mandaluyong, was reported to have cried the Madre Portera, Sor Teresa, when informed of the cause of the girl's alleged grief, suggested that Teodoro Patino tell all he knew to Father Mariano Hill. In the afternoon of August 19, Patino told Father Mariano of what he knew about the secret society. The prior immediately hurried to the printing shop of the Diario de Manila and, accompanied by the owner of the periodical, searched the premises for the hidden proofs of the existence of the Katipunan. The lithographic stone used to print the Katipunan receipts was found, and when it was shown to Patino, the latter pronounced it genuine. At midnight, the locker of Policarpio Torla, whose signature appeared in the receipts, was forced open. Under a dagger, the rolls of the society and other pertinent documents were found. These proofs were turned over to the police, who were now convinced of the existence of a vast underground society whose purpose was to overthrow Spanish sovereignty in the Philippines. The discovery of the Katipunan was immediately followed by mass arrest of Filipino suspects. Prominent men numbering about 500 were rounded up and convicted of illegal association and treason. Others, though innocent, were thrown into jail and Fort Santiago that night. Manila hardly slept for the Filipinos did not know when they would be arrested and tortured without even a semblance of reason. So bukas na itong wealthy Filipinos implicated. Bye everyone. God bless.